Chioma started crying, and as he tried to undress her, Otumba felt a sharp pain in between his legs, and boom, his manhood disappeared. In a faraway village called Umueze lived an arrogant, wealthy young warrior named Otumba. For many years, the people of Umueze lived in fear and were captives to the people of Uteje. They suffered so much and lost their families to hunger and starvation. Even though their land was blessed by the gods, the people of Nteje frustrated and maltreated them. They were not allowed to farm on their farmlands freely. Even when they do, it is harvested by the Nteje people. They rear their animals, but the people of Nteje take them, kill and eat them without giving them any. When Umueze people couldn't take the maltreatment again, Otumba, being a strong warrior, secretly gathered the village youths and ran away with them. At their hiding place, they were trained and prepared for war. Otumba did his best and got the young men ready to fight so that Umueze people could regain their freedom. For days, Otumba and his men fought the warriors of Nteje, and finally they won and regained their freedom. The people were so happy because it felt so good to be free. The king appreciated him and his men. In a few months, life became normal in the land, and the people went about their daily lives freely, just as it was before the people of Nteje took them into slavery. Just like the speed of light, Otumba became so wealthy, and soon the news of his wealth spread all over the other villages. He built a very beautiful house. He started to wine and dine with the elders of the village, and they all respected him a lot. Otumba became very arrogant and so full of himself that he doesn't even respect the king of the village. Every day, he walks around the village with his warriors, whom he has taken as his bodyguards. Nobody dares question his authority, not even the king. After all, he was the king who sat and did nothing while his people were maltreated by Nteje people. Otumba announced that it was time for him to choose a wife for himself, and so requested that all the beautiful maidens in the village gather at his mansion for a dance and beauty contest, and anyone who wins becomes his wife. Many parents didn't want their daughters to contest, but because of Otumba's wealth, they allowed their daughters to contest. The king was so happy because such a contest had never happened in Umueze, and any young man who needs a wife does so without drawing the attention of the whole villagers. But the king couldn't do anything. Is Otumba, the great warrior of Umueze village. The young men too were not happy because some of the maidens they had eyes on were all going to contest, as they all wanted to be Otumba's wife. On the day of the contest, all the maidens arrived at Otumba's mansion wearing their best wrappers and made beautiful heads. The drummers were drumming. There was more than enough to eat and enough palm wine for everyone. Then Otumba declared the occasion open, and the maidens started to show off their dancing skills. A total of 24 maidens contested, and after their dance, it was time for Otumba to announce the maiden that gladdened his heart. But instead of him to pick a wife, Otumba announced that he would marry them all. He also assured them that he would build a house for each of them. Everywhere became silent and cold. The villagers were astonished. The maidens were not happy. But Otumba threatened to deal with anyone that doesn't accept his decision. And so he married 24 wives on the same day. Just as he promised, he built a house for each of them and provided for them. As the days passed by, Otumba's wealth continued to multiply, such that the villagers started to question the source of his wealth. He became so arrogant that he started to take people's lands from them. After 2 years, Otumba declared again that he wanted a new set of wives and requested that the maidens come for another dancing contest so he could choose another wife. The villagers went and reported to the king. The king summoned Otumba to his palace, but he refused to go answer the king. So the king summoned the villagers and told them that no one should go to Otumba's house for the contest. Otumba, out of anger, started to pick ladies randomly in the village for marriage. Once he sees a beautiful maiden that he likes, he commands his guards to take you home against your decision. The people ran to report to the king, but there was nothing he could do because Otumba was richer and mightier than him. The villagers started to hide their daughters. Some didn't allow their daughters to go to the stream to fetch water or to fetch firewood. Others took their daughters to their maternal homes for safety. One day, as Otumba was strolling around the village with his guards, he saw a little girl sitting all by herself along the village bush path. He asked her what she was doing there, standing all by herself, but the girl pointed towards the bush and said she was with her mother. Otumba looked around and saw no one. Then he told his guards to carry the girl, that she was his latest bride. Ekema, on hearing this, ran out from the bush to protect her daughter. She ran because she didn't want Otumba to see her, but she never knew her young girl of 14 years would be his victim. Ekema is a young widow, still struggling to get her life together after she lost her husband 3 months ago. She cried and begged Otumba to give her child back to her, but he refused. Instead, he promised her that she wouldn't resume her wifely duties to him till she turned 20. He also assured her that she is free to come and visit her anytime she wanted. Ekema was heartbroken. She held her daughter, looked her in the face, and assured her that she would always come to visit her. Then she ran to the king to report to him. But the king told her there was nothing he could do, but assured her that he would look for a way to help her. Ekema left Umweze village to her mother's home. Her parents were late, but she went to the shrine her parents worshipped and with a heavy heart reported to them that Otumba has taken her child away from her. The chief priest gave her a bead and told her to put it on her daughter the next time she visited her. He told her the bead would protect her for the limited time she had to stay in Otumba's house. The bead will only be visible to her, as no one else will see the bead on her neck. Ekema thanked the chief priest, and the next morning she went straight home and to Otumba's house. When she was alone with her daughter, she brought out the bead and hung it on her neck. She told her never to tell anyone about the bead because it is the only protection she had. Every morning, Otumba would enter Chioma's room and admire her from head to toe. He was tempted to touch her, but each time he remembered the promise he made to her mother, he would stop. One day, as his spirit would not let him be, he came close to her. Chioma started crying, and as he tried to undress her, Otumba felt a sharp pain in between his legs, and boom, his manhood disappeared. Otumba screamed and ran out of her room. He cried. He was confused. He ran back to the room and saw Chioma lying down in her bed in tears. "What did you do to me, this little witch?" "Where is my thing?" he said as he pointed in between his legs. Chioma was confused. She was only a little girl. She didn't even understand what he was talking about. He hurriedly ran to the village shrine to see the chief priest, who told him to fetch Ekemma, Chioma's mother, immediately, as she was the only one who could provide his lost item. But as his guards were coming to the shrine with Ekemma, Otumba in anger brought out his sword and slayed her. Everywhere became as calm as a graveyard. The chief priest became speechless. Chioma screamed and cried. She sat down beside her mother as she bled to death. "Otumba, what have you done?" the chief priest shouted. "You just killed the woman with the solution to your problem." Little by little, the villagers started gathering at the shrine, and in no time, the news of Ekemma's death got to the king. According to the law of Umueze land, anyone who spills the blood of another will be banished from the land, and he or she will live with nothing. The chief priest scornfully laughed at Otumba and afterwards revealed the secret of Otumba's sudden wealth to the villagers. "Otumba, I warned you. I warned you so many times. I warned you never to incur the wrath of the gods upon yourself." He told the villagers of how Otumba collected the golden symbol of strength of the Umueze people from Nteje Kingdom when they went for war. After the war, he secretly sold the monument and made lots of money from it, even though he wasn't supposed to. The gods were so angry with him, but decided to use it as a compensation to him for his bravery that brought the people of Umueze freedom. He promised the gods to use his wealth and help the people and give them a good life. But instead of fulfilling his promise, he started maltreating the people and marrying all the ladies in the village. So, in order to punish him, the gods brought Ekemma and her daughter to his path. The people were happy at Otumba's predicament, and so the king ordered the guards to follow Otumba to his house and bring whatever remains of the money he made from selling the monument. The king banished Otumba from Umueze village, and he left with so much bitterness and shame. The most painful part is that he left Umueze village an incomplete man. Moral lesson: humility is key. Otumba's downfall stemmed from his inflated ego. Let's always remember that staying humble and grounded, even with good fortune, is crucial. Power corrupts. Otumba's initial blessing was meant for good, but the power it granted went to his head. This highlights the danger of unchecked power, which can lead to arrogance and abuse. Consequences of actions. Otumba's wickedness and selfishness had severe consequences. The story serves as a reminder that bad deeds will eventually catch up with us. Thank you for listening to my story. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel for more interesting stories.